Greetings, my friends, and welcome back. Good to see you again. Today we are going to explore the various websites researchers and scientists are using to either store or distribute their research output, their research profiles, basically. There are a variety and so many different, every day almost, so many different websites are popping out here and there. I will show you the most common ones that I usually use, and also I know that many universities are using to assess the value of my research. So let's get right to it and start exploring these websites. Great, so let's explore these websites. First of all, you need to know that you need to be unique online. That means when people search for your work, research output, or publications, they need to know it's actually you who has these publications or has this research. So there are names that are common. For example, my name is really, if you look for Wikipedia, for example, try to find out how many people in my name, there are not many. Obviously, no one actually. Okay, but let's look for somebody who's like more common. For example, Adam Smith. If you are a scientist and your name is Adam Smith, then the chances are there are like hundreds of Adam Smiths are there. So that's why you need to maintain a profile to identify yourself among all these hundreds of people out there. And they could be different people with different directions, especially in research. So you need to stand out in the crowd. So there are a few websites that we use to maintain research profiles, and we also use these same sites to share information with other colleagues in different countries and in the field. And so if you look at these websites, we start with the first one, ORCID, or it used to be Researcher ID, and this is where you actually combine all your names. So even if you have like multiple names, this ORCID actually identifies you as the researcher and gives you like a number of a code. Now many of these journals are actually asking for you to provide URCID. So this is your first stop where you need to create a profile with your own name, because it is very common now for journals to request your ORCID. It connects you to your own publications whenever you publish, so it is already there for you. I have obviously had already my account here. This is also tailored to organizations, not only to individual researchers, but also to organizations. And so you can see that organizations, so whether they are funders or publishers or research organizations, these are all can benefit from ORCID. But for researchers, especially for researchers, it's really important that you set up your own account, check out everything, and here where you can see like where you can add your own profile. As you can see, your employment history as well as your education and qualification, and then here you find all the information regarding your funding and your research output, your research profile here. And this is where you can manage it, and as you can see here, it is automatically selected, or you can select it, you can hide it, you can make it like only for you or for friends that you like, but it is a platform or a place where you can share information. A lot of this is done like automatically. They add your papers, and that's why here they are a bit on the conservative side. So here we have like 57 of my publications are here, and this is very common to see the number of publications that is listed different in different websites, because they gather their own information mostly from trusted organizations, trusted journals. Except for Google Scholar, it can cite any kind of publication, whether it is in a refereed journal or non-refereed journal, whether it is in a journal with impact factor or no impact factor. Others like Scopus, ORCID, GCR, and so on, they only get the information from refereed journals. Here you can also add, you can see you can edit your name in a variety format. So this is my name, Rashid Al-Yahyai, but also I have known by these other names. You can list that, so you have all your publication you wrote in different names. For example, your initial RA or R. Sometimes this happens. Different journals require different ways of setting up the authors' names. You can also have your own website and profile. I connected my LinkedIn, and here other IDs, and you'll be able now to explore all these other IDs. I'm also connecting them to this website. So this is my one stop for my research publication and information. As you can see it, this is the most important thing. What are you doing? Who you are? Which organization you belong to? If you have any membership in any organization, you can list it here. Also, if you have funding for research, you can also list it here. As you can see, ORCID also connects you to funding and other organizations of interest to all researchers. So basically, this is it. Of course, it is open access. It's automatically set for you, but then you can modify and edit. As I mentioned before, it's really your duty to always make sure that your profile is accurate, it is true, it is reflecting of you. The chances are most of your research is going to be true here, because many of the journals, as I mentioned, already use ORCID, already identifies you by your own number, which is usually here. So I am the only one that is here. So this is your, for example, this is my public version, everyone sees, and it is available to all. Obviously here you cannot you cannot download a paper or share them right here on the website, but it is all listed there for you. So this is the first stop. Next, the one that I commonly use is another website. Let's talk about the second website, and that is ResearchGate. ResearchGate is one of the most important website for researchers, because they can store actually a copy of all their publications. They don't have to violate the agreement with publishers by putting it publicly, but it doesn't. You can do that for like drafts or pre-publications. You can do it here too, but here you can share information directly with colleagues without having to have the papers in public or in violation with the rules. But others are available. For example, this is my profile. They give you this score. This score is really calculated based on different variables, and publication is just one of them. As you can see, if you are interacting with other colleagues, asking questions, answering questions, then they give you a score for your answers, for your questions, and also for the quality of the followers you have. Here they score me like 90, higher than 90% of all research members, of all the ResearchGate members. There are no actual count of how many those members are, but it seems like everyone I know is already on ResearchGate. And so they give you this score that is calculated based on all this information. So it's kind of repetition, but remember, it's not your repetition. It is also your indication of how it can, not only like in publications, this is the thing, it also can be an indicator of your activity in the website. So it cannot really be used as a measure alone. It can be used with other metrics, but not alone to assess researchers. But anyways, it is helpful to actually try to gain publicity and publish more, so you get higher and higher ResearchGate score. Okay, and it gives you information like index of most cited work. For example, it gives you index about yourself. As you know, the H index is the most common. They put me all around between 13 and 15 most of the time for most of my websites. So that's my average index. It gives me statistics about what are the popular publications that I have, who reads them. Also, they offer job opportunities on the website as well that are suitable for you, and how many reads. And you can see by breakdown how many reads, what are the recommendations, how many citations are there, and you could see who cited your work, and which work is being cited. What's the most publication that has been cited? For example, these are publications, they have 5 new citations, and ResearchGate will report that to you. In the profile, which is basically here, you can find your connections, you can connect with colleagues, you can have followers and following. As you can see here, these are my colleagues and I know them. And you can see there are not many because, ResearchGate is very limited. Mostly co-authors are who follow you and who you follow as well. And this is a bit of information about your own self, and some statistics in the front page, and so some of your featured research that gains like high read or higher recommendations, for example, or anything of that nature. They are all listed here. As you can see here, if you open any of these publications, you can see the details. You can see yourself, your colleagues, co-authors are all listed here as well, and the journal and the project. You can manage projects here, and you can see some information about this paper, the citations, the recommendations, how many times it has been read, and also the abstract. And if you uploaded it, you can probably see it here. You can see it here, and you can of course download it. This is my own version, but I can go and download these publications to share it with others. And here is at the bottom, similar research. So this is very helpful for that, basically sharing of your research output, and also connecting with your colleagues, because I get many messages here and recommendations, and colleagues asking for help and so on. So it's all here, and also you get to see what chapter has been read. For example, here my chapter yesterday reached 10,000 read, and mine was the most popular in the department, and so on. This kind of information is really helpful to track your progress in your research activities. So this is basically a quick review of ResearchGate and how you as a researcher can benefit from it. As you can see here, your colleagues and the people you follow will always be listed at the beginning every day. Every time they publish a paper, you will be notified directly, and it's a good way to connect with other colleagues and see also your own progress in your own profile. So that's basically for ResearchGate. You can always add new research here. As you can see, you can add a variety of publications, preprint, conference, presentations. You can add all kinds of things. So that's why it's really not a measure of output only, but it is a measure of activity. ResearchGate is a measure of research activity, and here you have all your profile clear and set with all your details. So that's basically it for ResearchGate. Okay, so let's move on to similar websites. They are now popping out everywhere. There are a few of them. Academia is one of them. It's really also the same thing, more or less, where you can share your own publications with colleagues. Academia is a website for researcher. I found it very restrictive, and it's not really open, unlike ResearchGate, where actually your research can be seen. Here it's a closed community. Unless you're logged in, you don't see anything, or you have any information about any other researcher. So I usually don't go. I have a profile on Academia, but it's not really super active compared to ResearchGate, where I'm trying to maintain my profile there very actively. Other similar website is Publons. Publons also gather information, but it's very limited because it is usually based on Web of Science Research ID, and this is very limited as well. So the metrics here is very minimum. You can see here you have to actually actively adding your own research work, and it's kind of hectic. It doesn't do it manually, and it doesn't do it automatically, but it needs to be maintained all the time. And you can see here it's only listed out of my 50 plus publications, only 22. So I don't use it a lot. This used to be called Research ID before, and now it's not as popular as the other publications, and you can see the metric is very limited. So the issue is these publications are very limited. You can see it here, so this is like 2016, 2012. So I need to maintain this myself, which is kind of hectic. So I don't use it, but it is available there if you are interested in. It used to be called Research ID. It's really not that popular compared to others, but it is based on Web of Science. As you know, that metrics for many of the journals that are publishing much of their research work. Another one similar to it is called Loop. That comes from Frontiers. If you ever use or seen to Frontiers of Plant Science or Plant Physiology, you will know about Frontiers. And Loops is really part of that network. It is kind of like less maintenance, because it does add publications to your own profile and so on. It does show your co-authors as well and colleagues if you have any followers or following here, but it's not again similar to Publon. Is not as common or as popular, but at least it is automatically maintaining your profile. So it's really just a matter of cleaning up your profile. But here you don't worry much, because they do a good job of maintaining your profile. And so in terms of adding publications, but of course you have to do also your homework, and you have to identify your specialty here to colleagues and friends and those who seek your information. And if, you can see your education, affiliation, your social profiles are all linked here. And so it gives you a little space to identify yourself, as well as your own network that is gathered from publications, basically your following and your followers and co-authors. That's your network, and the list of your publications and your co-authors. So they are all here. As you can see, you just have to click on each website to take you. You don't store yourself any copy of your own work in the system here, so you don't have that, but it does link you to where the publication is. So that's a good thing about it. It takes you directly to that website. If you have any editorial contribution, it is also listed here, and then you can see here your impact. Of course, here I'm not logged in, you can see here, but if you logged in, you can see your impact in terms of ratings and citations and all of that. But this is obviously what it has: how many publication views, how many downloads. As you know, Frontiers is really an open source platform for publications. So this is another website that I recommend you maintain a profile, at least set up the profile and let it add the publication just to confirm authorship once in a while on this platform. Great. So far all these websites will gather information from refereed journals, from trusted journals, or from their own publishing house. For example, Web of Science, Elsevier, Frontiers. But there are other websites that are really popular among researchers, and they check it out once in a while. One of them is Google Scholar, as you might already know. Google Scholar will gather all of your publications, so it's very easy to put out a PDF file with a publication on the website, on the internet, and Google Scholar will be tricked to think that it's a publication. It has happened many times to me. I will put up a paper on ResearchGate, or a white paper, or a small short essay, and Google Scholar will think that is a publication. So Google Scholar is not really like the metrics to go for in terms of identifying the strength or weaknesses of author, because it's very easy to manipulate. So that is one thing that you have to understand. Then it is your duty to actually maintain your Google Scholar profile, but it's always helpful to have a profile in Google Scholar, and it is very helpful also to find other researchers. So for example, if you look for me in Google Scholar, you'll find colleagues with similar profiles here, but this is my profiles on top. Okay, so this is my own profile in Google Scholar, and you can see it tracks your performance over time since the first publication it listed until the last day, which is like today and tomorrow. It does this automatically. You don't have to do anything. You just have to watch out for your profile and make sure you clean it up once in a while. So these publications or these citations actually reflect what's in your own research output, what's in your profile. It also gives you the number of citations overall, or the number of citations in the last 5 years, and you can see it here. It gives you an H index, as I mentioned before. My H index around 13. It inflated a little bit because it adds all your publication in refereed journal and non-refereed, even predatory journals. If you have published in a predatory journal, and I caution you about doing that, it will still be listed in Google Scholar, unlike other websites where they don't do that. So that's why it's very common for people to have their index very high, but it's not totally reliable. It also gives you the index of the citations here in the last the minimum number of citations over time for the last publications, but this is not really a common metric. It's a good also source for metrics on journals. It's actually good as a metric for journals also, not only researchers. And as you can see here, you can sort out by year or by citations, and that's why it's very easy to maintain your profile, because you can go through it and clean up anything that you see not belonging to you. Here you also have a list of colleagues who belong to you. You can also manually add publications. Here you can do it manually. You can also add articles that mention your name or mention anything that you think you have published but it's not listed. You can do it here. Okay, so it's very easy to do that. You can also go to individual publication, and then you can of course delete it if it doesn't belong to you, or make some corrections. But as you can see, it imports from other websites as well. So it is imported this from the PDF version that I added to ResearchGate. That's why it is not reliable, because I can put out anything on ResearchGate and Google Scholar will think it is actually a publication, which is actually not true, and it is not ethical to do that. Of course, Google Scholar will ask you to verify your email. Okay, so to make sure that you have actually an active profile, you need to verify your email, institutional email, basically. That's what you need to do. And so you can add your own, as I mentioned, your own papers, and you can change your own profile here. But this is what people mostly see, and you can see that Google Scholar is very simple, very straightforward. It has these metrics for the journals, and if you want to see your metrics, it's all here. So this is my library, and this is all the metrics. You can see it here. All the metrics for all the journals, and Nature and Science and all the other ones are always top journals wherever you go. But it has really good metrics for specific areas. For example, what are the areas that you are interested in, your own field? You can easily assess the research that has been out by journals or by individuals, like my colleagues, for example, here. They have their own profiles, and I can see what they are doing and when they publish their work based on their citation or the year. Okay, so this is basically it for Google Scholar. Okay, so Google Scholar is not the only kid in the block. Microsoft has followed through as well and tried to present something more like more appealing and more interesting, as you can see. And here we have the publications and the authors and topics. And I personally do not maintain an active profile. This is similar to Google Scholar, because here you don't really do anything, just like there, except clean up your profile. You don't add your own publication. You can do it, but you usually don't do that in here. But Microsoft Academic is another. It seems to be interesting and popping out, as one of the top sites for researchers. It really gives good information about about the publications. If it is downloadable, it will allow you to download it. You can share it here, and you can also add it to your own reading list, and you can cite your work or other colleagues' work. It gives you the keywords presented in a nicer way. I like the presentation of Microsoft Academic more than Google Scholar. However, many websites or many even institutions still use Google Scholar as the place to go when it comes to research profiles. Most of these journals don't really use Microsoft Academic, but I see that Microsoft try to catch up and try to also present their profile in a meaningful way. And I think this is very good for researchers. The more they are there and their research is out there and the public know about them, the better for research, and also it is always better for the world. Well, I hope you found this journey useful and it helped you identify the websites that you wanted to join. I truly recommend at least 3. ResearchGate, really plenty of my friends. There are many of my friends, plenty of research work is being exchanged and done over there. And it's really a nice platform where you can exchange publications, personally, you don't store it. You don't violate any copyrights or any notices with the publishers, but you still can easily share your research work with colleagues and friends. So ResearchGate is really one of them. You maintain your Google Scholar. You don't do much with Google Scholar. It's just maintenance. So to avoid that, Google Scholar adds publications to your profiles that don't belong to you. So I recommend that you maintain the profile there. And also once in a while, you check your other profiles, especially Research ID, Publons, as well as or ORCID, because you want to make sure that all your publications are actually listed there. As I mentioned before, these websites are different. They use different metrics and they use different ways to gather information about your research work. But it's really your duty, and to be honest, to remove anything that is attributed to you but it doesn't belong to you. It's really critical to have to clean up your profiles in all of these researcher websites. So thank you again. If you like this material, please click like and also share it with others, as well as you subscribe to increase the publicity of what we are doing right here in this channel. Good luck, keep up the research work, and take good care. Goodbye.